Welcome back to the channel. Current subscribers, thank you for returning. Newcomers, go ahead and push that red subscribe button and join the family. As you can see, we're getting ready to cook something. This is another reason why you see all the frozen things I have. That pre-prepping, it makes the dishes that you want to cook very easy. I've got some green peppers, I've got some celery and onions, and they have already been cut up and frozen in the freezer. Okay, we're gonna make some cabbage sausage today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this sausage opened up and get my pan on, and we're gonna get right to it. Okay, as you can see, I've got my pan on and I just got the rest of that water out of that. So I'm just going to pour a little avocado oil into the pan, maybe a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to go ahead and start adding that sausage. And we've just opened up the sausage and put it in there. So we're just going to open that up, put it in there. Bear with me because I'm still doing things one-handed. Now, you know I like to cook on high, but we're going to turn it down a little bit because cooking with one hand, there is some difficulty in that. So I'm going to have to be compensating for that. So, hey, let's get the fan on. Okay, now we got that fan on. That's going to help us out. And as you know, this sausage, I don't know why, but it smokes a lot. So be mindful of that and have your fan on when you start cooking this sausage, okay? Just going to have that fan on. Now we're going to brown this sausage real good. And then after we brown this sausage, we're going to start adding the ingredients. Because be mindful, when you have frozen ingredients that you're using, they're going to bring a lot of water. So if you have meat and you want to put a burn on the meat really well, you want to get a burn on that meat before you start adding those frozen vegetables, because the water is going to keep you from being able to burn your meat the way you want to. Now once you get a nice burn on your meat and it's where you need to be, then you'll start adding those vegetables. Then the water won't have as much of an effect. But the other thing you can also do with your vegetables that are frozen is you can just get you a pan on the side and put those in it and have those simmer until you get most of that water out. Because one thing about my cabbage stir fry is I kind of like my cabbage not to be real limp. I want it to still have some life in it. So we're just going to keep cooking this, and that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to get a separate pan and go ahead and put on those frozen vegetables. We've got us another pan and we're going to turn it up a little bit. We're going to add our frozen vegetables. Yeah, I do have me a nice helper today, which you know I got to have one because one hand just doesn't do it, people. Okay, I got that's the celery and onion. And now I'm going to add the green pepper, but we're only going to add half a bag of green pepper. With the celery and onion, I would say that's about 2 cups, meaning a half a cup of celery and a cup of onion. But you know me, I love onion, so I'm going to still put maybe an additional cup, which that's frozen too. So just break that down as much as you can and put that in the pan. Then we're just going to put the top on this to make this come up like we want it. Yeah. And we're just going to get that top on that and let that simmer for a minute so it'll be time for us to use it. Now that sausage is still cooking real nice, but it's starting to get that burn on it like we like it, okay? So once you start seeing some little darkened spots on it, you know what I'm saying, and it's really rolling around and it has some good texture to it, then you know that sausage is where you want it to be. Okay, so that's about where you want it to be. So you can go ahead and sit this aside at this point and just wait for your vegetables to get where they need to be. Okay, now once you get your onions to this point, you're just trying to stir out all the water. Yeah, they're already unthawed. And you just want to keep stirring out as much water as possible. Now, if you need to pause and strain this, that's good too. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I poured those into a colander and put this back on. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of avocado oil, as you can see. And then I'm going to put those back in this pan. Let me go for them. Already strained them real good. Put them in. And sometimes you can even put a paper towel in them to really get them strained off. Okay, you're going to put that back and you're just going to start putting a burn on that. There you go. Look at that. See, that's much better. And that got rid of all of that water. But as you can see, the steam is still coming off of it. So there's still a certain little bit of water that's there, but that's okay. We can deal with that. Just them swimming was not going to work. Okay, as you can see, the onions are getting a little brown. So they are getting to where they need to be. And we're just going to take this and do a swap. This one up and put that one on. Yeah, we're going to put that sausage back on to the fire. We have it. Move that out of the middle. I'm going to go ahead and pour this onion right on in here. There you go. And we're where we need to be. There you go. Now look at that. Now that's beautiful. Look at that. There you go. That's what you want right there. And all that's on the bottom, scrape that. That's flavor. That's nothing but good flavor. Okay, now we got that hole in there. Turn this down just a little bit, about 6 or 7, depending on how your oven is. And we're going to open up that cabbage and put that cabbage in here. There's scissors right there on the side of the refrigerator. Yeah. I'm just holding this over the heat so that it doesn't get too much heat. Actually, set it aside until you get your cabbage ready. And once you open up your cabbage, you're going to start. See, you still got a little oil down in the bottom of there. And you're going to start adding your cabbage to this. See how dry that cabbage is? That's how you want it to be. And you go ahead and add the first package. And then you got to get going. Because you got to move this around. Yeah, you want to get going. Don't sleep on that. You got to add this around. And you got to get going on stirring it. Now, you guys know I had to learn to use my left hand. And it's still not acting quite right all the time. It still has a little thing in it. I threw something up on the wall the other day trying to do something with the hand. It was so awkward. But you know, if you're 54 years and you've been using your right hand, it's hard to try to teach that left hand to do the same thing. But we're here for you, and I'm still able to do something, so you know God is blessing me. Okay, this is what you want to see. Okay, when you get this mixture right here, we're going to add some garlic. And of course, you know our old buddy soy sauce is going to come in there. Okay, this is your sesame seed. Hope you can see that. Yeah, that's a sesame seed. And with sesame seed, you know me, I don't really measure, but I say you're going to give it at least a teaspoon or half a teaspoon. You know, everything is to flavor. So you know, deal out some and taste it and see how you're going with it. And then you can gauge it from there. Now be mindful, the sausage has a salt content to it, salt value to it. So you really don't need any salt, and you want to be careful even with your soy sauce. Okay? So don't add anything until the end so that you know what it's really going to taste like. Okay? And we're going to get us some garlic. Guys, you know I like fresh garlic, but if you don't have fresh garlic, don't fret. This kind is fine. Comes in a jar. And you're going to take and use a teaspoon of this. Okay, let's get you a little teaspoon. And try and, you know, move it around. You don't want it to be all in one spot. Okay, that's my teaspoon, people. You know me. Okay, but you want to move it around. If it gets in one spot, just move it around. Yeah, you want to move it around like that even before you start tossing it so that it is semi-mixed in. And then you just get that old spatula and you come from the bottom around. Yeah. Make sure you're lifting from the bottom up. You're getting that mixed up really well. And then, of course, push and pull. Okay, now, I think I want a little black pepper. And once I put the black pepper in, you know, I don't like my cabbage wilty. I like it to have a little form to it. So we're just going to add a little bit of black pepper to this. Come on, old lady. We're having technical difficulties with the pepper. Open the other one. Okay, I couldn't get the side I wanted to open. So you just pour it in your hand if you can't measure it out, because you don't want to pour too much up. And this is about a teaspoon, and I just used it in my hand versus the other because the shaker part wouldn't open up for me. And then I want just a little bit of cayenne to take the heat up just a little bit. So the cayenne pepper is probably going to be around less than a half a teaspoon, maybe a couple of shakes. And that's just your cayenne pepper and your black pepper. And you're just going to stir those around. Get them to where you need them. Now, if you have some more chopped up cabbage, just add you another tablespoon of that avocado oil, and then go ahead and get that bag opened up and pour it on in. And then you're just going to pour that in the middle. Oops. Pour that in the middle. And once you get this stirred around and mixed in, you don't even have to wait. Because like I said, I like the crunchiness. So see, like part of it, I'll cook in. And then the other part of it, I pretty much leave in its state just enough to stir it around. And then once that's done, then this is done for me. Now, if you want to keep stirring and get a little bit of cook on the rest of it, you can, but that's totally a preference. And at this point, I will add a little bit more sesame seed because we've added and taken from the flavor. So be mindful of that. When you add more cabbage, you may have to add a little bit more of your seasonings. Now, the garlic is going to do fine because it's strong enough to, you know, move its way through. You know, that's just kind of how garlic does. But for me, I am going to add a little bit more sesame seed, which it can't be too much sesame seed for me. And like I said, sesame seed is also a preference. And I am going to add maybe a half a teaspoon or so, 2 teaspoons or so of soy sauce. Not much, so don't get happy. Because you don't want to find that you've added too much and now it's too salty. You definitely don't want that, because this is a very delicious meal. Okay, so you definitely don't want to mess it up. We're going to go ahead and do a taste test real quick and see if there's anything we need. Just take you a spoon. Okay, I am going to add maybe a teaspoon, no, I'm going to say a tablespoon of agave nectar to this. But if you have duck sauce, add that instead. Okay, so be mindful, I'm adding tablespoon of agave nectar just to give it a little sweet flavor. Here's the agave nectar we're going to use. And like I said, just a tablespoon, or maybe not even a tablespoon. See how I'm doing this? If you go around it once and then stir it up and you find that it's okay, then it's okay. You just want a little bit of a sweet flavor to it, or I do. I'm one of those people, when my meal is done, I want it to be so that you don't really have to add anything to it and it's going to be delicious. Okay? So just get that added around. And we didn't quite add a tablespoon. So if we find that it's okay, then like I said, you add it in on your own, and then everything's to flavor. I'm going to do a little bit more pepper, and then this baby's done. And that's black pepper. I'm going to do a little bit more. That's it. See there? That's about how much more black pepper you got. So that's not even a half a teaspoon. Just a little bit. I just could, I just could barely on my tongue, barely say I needed a little bit more pepper. So, whoa, ring around the pan. Okay. 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 And just get that stirred up real nice. Go ahead and turn that fire off. This right here is done. Okay? Beautiful. Just beautiful. Oh, look at that. Can't ask for something better. Alright, so this is done. And we're going to let our guests get the first taste of this. Yeah. She was a really big help to me. Okay, now you tell me how that tastes to you. Go ahead and get a taste of that. Okay, people, she's chewing. It's funny.
That is really good.
Now, what'd you say?
That is really good.
There you go. There you have it, people.
Good stuff, people.
Now, you go ahead and try that out and see what you might put as a different ingredient to make it your own. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.